I'm talking today because I'm feeling a recent passion about group hypnosis. I've been doing private one-on-one group, hypnosis sessions as a QHHT level 3 practitioner for about 8 years now, and I've done over 2,000 case studies, and these sessions are 5 to 6 hours, sometimes longer in duration. So I have a lot of experience, and I've recently become inspired about doing it in the group format. These sessions are provided in a very safe container, very effectively guided. And I wanted to share with you about what can be achieved, what can be received in a group scenario, because it's a lot more accessible to people, and wanted to share with you what you can also do with these sessions afterwards, and how to interpret them, how to perceive them, how to get them to work for your advantage, how to really, squeeze the juice out of them and get the most out of them that you possibly can, how to have a good session, how to and to know that the more you do, the better they get, and why that's important. So why that's important, I'll get to that right now, is anytime we can spend time in the right brain is always going to be good for us. It's an intrinsically whole and healing. It brings the left and right hemisphere into more balance. We live in a left brain mechanism, external environment. It's constantly pulling us into the left brain, which is great. It helps us function. But if we're not balancing the scales, we're not going to have a balance between the left brain and the right brain. It's going to keep us in our mind a lot, not enough in our heart, or too much in our heart and not enough in our mind. It can create a lot of imbalances in the emotional body, the physical body, the mental body, the spiritual body, all these aspects of ourselves. And an important thing to mention here with QHHT is you're always working with your higher consciousness, your higher self, or your super conscious mind. And so it's this higher aspect of you it has your back. It knows what you need. It's unlimited. We're accessing an unlimited space. We're accessing an unlimited version of us in the theta space, in the theta brainwave state, where anything can happen that is beneficial for us. You can get the keys to unlock your mind in such beautiful and magical ways through the realm of the imagination. Learning to respect the imagination, learning what the imagination actually is versus what we've been trained to think since we were little. You've heard, oh, that's just your imagination, or don't be silly, you're imagining things. Well, we get programmed into not valuing that aspect of us, but in truth it's a forum, it's a portal, it's a real realm, and this is where our higher consciousness transmits itself and communicates to us and shows us things through symbology, and even in a literal it can get quite literal as well, visually. It'll come in through all of our senses. So it's very natural, it's very practical. We're aware while we're accessing awareness. Now, hypnosis used to be experienced with a lot less awareness. People were less consciously involved, and this is where we were. And the thing is that now this is even becoming more unlimited, because we are more aware while we're in hypnosis. And all that is a demonstration or proof that you are evolved, that your consciousness is evolved. And of course, we have the internet to thank us for that. The internet is just rapidly evolving our consciousness, and it's time to harness that. It's time to be in action through participation of what we can grow through and heal from and release trauma from, and realize that we're not our patterns, we're not our experiences. We've been the vessel for them to come through, so consciousness can expand itself. So you don't even want to have a massage these days or receive a treatment from a therapist without being awake. If you're asleep, you're not in participation. You're putting the power onto you're giving your power away to the therapist. We don't. This is not a QHHT is not putting people to sleep and injecting a program. You don't want to give your power away like that. You want to. By the way, I'm not saying that that's a bad way to do hypnosis. That works very well for some people, and there's definitely a valuable place for that. But that's not what QHHT is. I'm just here to tell you what QHHT is, and how it is the same in a private and in a group scenario. And this is the information that I want to share with you and what you can get from it. So we want to value the imagination. We want to know how to use it. So you choose the level of hypnosis you're in. You always choose the degree of hypnosis that you are going to have your experience in. What sensory system is best in alignment for that information is where that information is going to come through. Is it going to come through your sight? Is it going to come through telepathic thought? Is it going to come through feelings? Are you going to back up those feelings with telepathic thought? Are you going to use the mind to float those feelings, to squeeze more of that juice and get more of an experience so that you can extract the information from that hypnosis experience for after your session and in the coming days after your session when you're most open for about 3 days. That is a rough idea of how long you can be open. So what can you receive? You can receive information about what's blocking you from any of the timelines that you've ever lived. You can receive information that is just helping you follow the breadcrumbs to get more clarity as to what the purpose and the teaching lesson of that experience was all about. And that is very powerful to healing, because now there's been a purpose, and we can forgive ourselves and move on and forgive the others and move on and let go of that experience. And very often letting go is just letting it be. Just let it be. It goes on its own. You don't even need to know how to do that. It's done on your behalf. So the more you do hypnosis, the easier it gets, the better it gets, the more you get out of it. Like any muscle, like going to the gym, it's the same thing. It's a treasure hunt. And the experiences that you want afterwards is to start building a dialogue. If there's any beings that have come in for you, or depending on the container that I'm using to provide a landscape for you, you can continue a conversation and build a relationship with that aspect of you, and continue the conversation and start morphing and melding into that higher state of consciousness, which just wants to come down and express itself through you and be in the day-to-day. And I'll get more into that with some videos and also in the events themselves to help you understand what that's all about, because there's just so much to know about hypnosis and why it's good for us and why we want to be in that theta brainwave state, which is a state of consciousness that we go in and out of throughout the day very naturally. Many of us are not even aware of it, so it's such a natural state to be in. And this is a state that we go into just before falling asleep. Many times answers and revelations, or things that we'll remember that we've forgotten, and it wakes us up just as we were about to fall asleep. That's theta, okay? Or waking up out of the dream state, we're not quite awake yet, and then all these revelations come in. That's theta. So just before falling asleep, just before waking up, this is why it's always a good idea to set intentions before you go to bed. You want to receive some information, or you want to just sort of change your perceptual filter so that it's working for you more and less against you. So this is theta, and the more we are aware that we are in theta, the better and more unlimited it actually is, because we're in right action, we're in participation of our healing. And also we know our place where that participation is, as opposed to getting in our own way and allowing the ego to take over a domain that it has no domain over. It's all about knowing how to use our left brain and knowing its place, how to use it so it doesn't work against us. It's working more for us. So the greatest state of being able to manifest is the theta state, is in hypnosis. Again, it's the higher self that does the manifesting, but there's a part of us, a speck of us, that has a role in that manifestation. And you'll find these things out. So there will be a lot of containers for manifesting as well for us in these group hypnosis environments.